City Council meeting, 1110 Houston Street, November 13, 2025. It is 12:05 p.m. I'll stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Secretary, roll call, please.
Yes, Mayor. Honorable Mayor, Dr. Victor D. Trevino.
Present.
Honorable Council Member District 1, Gilbert Gonzalez. Honorable Council Member District 2, Ricardo Rangel Jr. Honorable Council Member District 3, Melissa Cigarroa. Honorable Council Member District 4, Ricardo Rick Garza.
I'm here.
Honorable Council Member District 5, Ruben Gutierrez Jr. Honorable Council Member District 6, Dr. Tyler King.
Here.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem and Council Member District 7, Vanessa Perez. Honorable Council Member District 8, Alisa Cigarroa. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to make a motion to excuse also Councilmember Van Helling.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. We'll proceed with communications. Presentation by Mayor, providing general comments on city matters, upcoming initiatives, and other relevant updates for the council and the public. We want to thank everyone for being here today and those watching online. As we move forward with our next stage of discussions with the federal government set on the foundation of President Trump's executive order and proclamation which had declared a national emergency at the southern border and authorized construction of a border wall and the deployment of the military. I called this meeting to address a matter of profound importance for our community and for our nation. To construct a border wall along our southern border is one that impacts not only our landscape, but also the very fabric of our community. As the 85th mayor of Laredo, I understand the weight of choices and the consequences of these decisions and what they carry. Just like my fifth great-grandfather who founded Laredo could have never imagined that our community will one day be separated by a border, and then never imagined we would be facing the possibility of being divided even further by a border wall. But yet we're here today, confronted with a decision that will shape our future. But that decision is not only we make only today, and it is not one that should ever be made without the voices, the wisdom, and the lived experiences of every part of Laredo. Thus the reason for these public meetings and the importance of polling the community. As I continue to speak with my counterpart in El Laredo, we both share the belief in fostering collaboration, understanding, and unity between our communities and ourselves. We both share the belief that a border wall in our community, rather than uniting, can undermine the trust and relationship we have cultivated over generations. And our focus in moving forward Formal negotiations with Homeland Security will be on proposing designs that enhance the value of the river area, border security through smart walls, emphasizing technology and cooperation. It also allows us to propose sensitive areas, negotiate access, and propose easements instead of land acquisitions. Since we have been given a definite time frame by Homeland Security, we need to engage these discussions in good faith, responsibility, and expeditiously, without the influence of politics, but representing all Laredoans. And before you today are the first renderings that have been provided by us by Homeland Security. These are a variation of renditions that the city negotiated and submitted from a 2008 rendition River Vega Master Plan prepared by Jacob Center, Borges, and other vision prepared by Able City. With that being said, I'm being told that we need to briefly address some legal items before we move into today's agenda, where we will hear public comments after city manager's presentation. And with that being said, we will be moving to executive session, but I would like to hear some comments from the public. Do you have any comments, Ray? We'll start with Colby Bryant.
For the record, my name is Colby Eduardo Bryan. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to discuss an issue that will impact our community. Today, I want to address why we need a physical barrier, but also highlight the failures of our local government. First and foremost, a secure border is essential for national security. The role of the government is to protect its citizens. A border wall will serve as a critical barrier that will deter human trafficking, drug smuggling, and other illegal activities. By supporting a physical barrier, we fortify our border to prevent threats to our community. An example of this is dealing with traffic stops. Law enforcement, like LPD or Border Patrol, have often stopped traffic to pursue individuals who are committing these illegal acts and endangering all those around. Additionally, a border wall will create a more orderly process to encourage legal pathways to citizenship. By supporting this, we can ensure that those who come to our country do so with respect for the rule of law. Now, let us turn our focus to our local government. While the federal government bears responsibility for border security, our local government plays a role in addressing these challenges. Unfortunately, our local government has failed to act appropriately. As a result, criminals have continued to undermine the rule of law. Rather than collaborating to create a safer community, the lack of action has encouraged illegal activity, another failure of inadequacy. If you remember, our local government found themselves stretched thin, lacking manpower and funding to address the influx of individuals who entered the country. This not only placed a burden on local services, but had also strained our community. The lack of decisive action from our local government to address border security had forced NGOs to step in with volunteers and stretch migrant facilities to their limits. This resulted in taxpayer money being spent on hotels for migrants, while families in our community suffered from high demand for resources, such as baby formula, further burdening our community at a time of an already strained economy. Moreover, our local government had neglected to act appropriately after an influx of 5,000 Haitians that had swarmed across our river. Instead, we saw delays and missed opportunities that could have strengthened our security. Without the right approach, we can only expect that these challenges to remain the same. To conclude, the border wall is a necessary step towards ensuring the safety and security of our community. I firmly believe that this pivotal moment, local government will either make its decision to a firm commitment to our welfare, or let it be a moment in history for when we came together, not as representatives of our parties, but as Americans, that affirm swift action to secure our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Next is Ricardo de Anda. Ricardo de Anda.
Good afternoon, gentlemen,
Afternoon.
ladies. My name is Ricardo de Anda. I'm an attorney in town. I've lived here my 78 years. I'm also a landowner along the river. I want to tell you a bit about my experience. Back 5-6 years ago, the federal government asked for permission to enter my property along the river, which sits between the two bridges on the Mines Road, off of the Mines Road, off of Pico Road, to conduct surveying. I said no. Subsequently, the state made an offer to purchase land, well, not purchase the land, but purchase an easement to construct a wall on the property. And they offered $92,000 an acre. Now, my property is off of Pico Road. There's property on Pico Road that's selling for $250,000 an acre. This is on unpaved land. A stone's throw away at Pinnacle, where you have development, land is going for up to $500,000 an acre. Now, you can tell me, guys, I'm MAGA. I think it's patriotic to build that wall. You have two duties, and I'm going to speak to you about them. One is a fiduciary duty. I'm a lawyer. I am familiar with a fiduciary duty. You can't say to me, when you're dealing with my property as the public, we're going to give it away. Oh, we're going to have DHS sit in with us while we negotiate what's the deal that we're going to get. Now, we're far away from dollars and cents here, but ultimately that's what we're talking about. We're talking about city assets. They don't belong to you. They don't belong to you. They belong to the citizens. Now, I may act as a fiduciary in an estate where I represent 5 or 6 young children. Again, I cannot say, oh, I'm a MAGA guy. I support Trump. I like the wall. I think the wall is going to solve our problems. And give the land away and screw the children. What's my duty as a fiduciary duty? The same duty you have, which is to get every single dollar that I can get, if that's what's going to happen. If the feds, I have two duties. One is this the right thing to do for my children? To have a wall through the property that they're going to deal with? No, I don't think it's a good idea, so I'm going to fight it. And if I don't win and I have to sell it, well, then I'm going to try to get the most money that I can. And listening to people behind me, you guys are going to give it away. Please don't do that. The other thing is the secrecy. This is the first time we've seen this rendering I'm sure there's more renderings than those. Where are those? I don't believe the mayor's seen it. The citizens should have it. The other thing is your moral duty. You're facing a decision that has the same consequences as the county judge and commissioner's court of Zapata County when they decided to flood their city. And when they agreed to that without fighting it, you can believe the citizens of Zapata County remember who voted and how they voted. You're facing a decision, the same decision that the mayor and the city council of the city of Laredo faced when they gave away the best part of our community and raised 2 plazas along the way to extend the freeway instead of fighting it and having it in a decent place and having it in a way that's not going to rape our community. You're facing the same decision. It's not fair for you to do it on your own. You should include the citizens of this community. You should include the stakeholders of this community in that decision. It should be a decision that's made by all of us. If it's going to be a decision that's going to change the face of Laredo, which it looks like it's going to be, all of us should be included. Not the city manager sitting with DHS and then going to the mayor and then coming to council and going to executive session and deciding it and then coming out here and voting for the wall. You guys should not go into executive session on this issue unless and until you're dealing with dollars and cents. It should be out in the open. You should not go into executive session right now when you're dealing with this issue. As it is, you're having it on a Friday at 12 noon. People are having to clock off of work to get here. And now you're going to go into executive session and shut us off again? No, please don't do that. The other thing is, if I represent 5 children as a fiduciary on an estate, and 3 of them tell me, oh, I'm MAGA, I want the wall, give it away, Mr. Lawyer, I'm going to look at the other 2 children and say, is it right? Is it the right thing to do for these other 2 children just because 3 of them agree? I'm not going to do it unless all 5 children agree. This poll is ridiculous. You know what the right thing to do is here. The right thing to do is to oppose it. How do you oppose it? Well, you get experts. You hire the best lawyer in Texas to help you figure this out. You hire experts. That's what I would do if I was a fiduciary duty facing the situation. I would hire experts to help me figure out what's the best situation for the children that I represent. Don't go a poll. Don't do a poll. Don't waste money on a poll. Not on what's the right thing to do. It's like polling it, asking the community whether you should shut down city council and not allow public participation. You know it's crazy to do a poll like that because it's the wrong thing to do. It's the wrong thing to do to agree to this wall without fighting it. And you don't fight it until we see you dealing with experts. That's when you go into executive session, when you go in with experts that are going to tell you what you can do in court and how you can do it. When you go in with financial consultants who tell you how much you can get per acre for this property before you sell it to the city, that's when you go into executive session, not when you're looking at renderings and deciding what's the best thing for our riverhead. Thank you.
May I remind the public, no screaming or jeering, please. All right, next is Henry Chauvenet, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the city staff, it's difficult to prepare comments for a meeting which...
Your name for the record.
Yes, for the record, Henry Sauvignon, I'm with IBC Bank. It was difficult to prepare comments for this meeting given that it was difficult to find information about the meeting except through the media. And when we talk about transparency in government, it's difficult to build confidence from the citizens when we have to go to the media to find out what the city is doing rather than your website. And if it was on the website, I didn't see it, you need to make it more prominent. It was hidden somewhere, if it was there at all. And I don't think that's how you handle a public meeting where you're going to make a decision that's related to the city that's this difficult. But that said, I also want to comment on things that you've seen, that you know that IBC has promoted. And we have promoted clearly through our common sense brochure that the border needs to think of the border holistically, and we need to think of a theme that helps both the government accomplish its purpose and the city maintain its beauty. The water is a resource. We've been talking about water as a resource for the city for a long while. We don't know the effects of a wall on this resource of water and how that wall would affect the current, would affect the quality of the water, and we need an expert to tell us this kind of information. We support the government's initiative at a smart wall. We all agree with that. Part of that includes clearing invasive species along the river to create, in some parts along the river, an all-weather road that allows CBP to patrol the area effectively. Eyes on the ground is the best way. When you can't see, you can't tackle. And when you clear an area, you can see it and you can see what's going on. And that's why we support, when possible, an all-weather road, the clearing of invasive species as part of a smart solution, a smart wall, because then you put the smart technology into this. It's difficult to say we support one way or other the rendering that we see here on one picture because I don't know dimensions, I don't know size. We haven't been given this information. We certainly are aware of what occurred the first time and what the first renderings were, but are they identical? I don't know the answer to that question. And to take a decision on a wall without more information just seems to me not responsible. We need more public input, we need more citizen input, and we need professionals to tell us what the effects of these actions will be. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Next comment is Michelle Wintroth.
Hello, for the record, my name is Michelle Winterroth, and I am here because public safety must come before politics and outside influence, and I do mean any outside influence. I'd like to start by saying Councilmember Cigarroa's involvement with RISC raises serious concerns about her ability to put Laredo's safety first. RISC opposes any border barrier, but we continue to see smugglers running straight to the river with zero regard for human life because nothing is in place to stop them. We all remember the murder of the young woman taken to a home in the mines area and was dismembered. The suspect tried fleeing across the border before being brought back. This shows how easily criminals can escape when there's nothing in place to stop them, putting every one of us at risk. Councilmember Cigarroa claims the border barrier will change the character of the city, but ignores that border crime already does that. She also said, who wants to invest in Laredo when we have a prison wall next to you? But investors aren't avoiding Laredo because of border plans. They're avoiding it because downtown is neglected, Ms. Cigarroa. It's overrun by vagrancy, drug activity. That is the real deterrent. I'm formally requesting, Mayor, the removal of Melissa and Alyssa Cigarroa due to their conflicts of interest with RISC and other anti-border wall groups. Affiliations with these groups prevent them from representing Laredo without bias. Ms. Cigarroa has openly stated that she didn't know which hat to wear. It's not my words, those are her words. Our community deserves leaders whose decisions are based on the best interest of all residents, not just some. We need to remember that Laredo already tried fighting the federal government in 2018 and y'all lost. Opposing a barrier will not stop the project. It only weakens our position and puts our safety at risk. Stop wasting taxpayer money fighting a losing battle. Work with the federal government on a design that protects our community and benefits it. Use as leverage for a possible tourist attraction opportunity, turning something that is happening regardless into an asset for Laredo. And to anyone who opposes a border barrier, I say this: why don't you take the doors off your homes and the fences that you guys have protecting your home? Remove them and see how that turns out for you. Border safety is exactly why Laredo unanimously voted for Donald Trump.
Thank you. All right, before we continue on citizens' council, we'll take the executive session right now. Move to executive session. Go ahead.
Mayor, I believe you had stated that we were going to allow for public comment.
After executive session.
Sir, we've asked citizens to come and take time off some of their only on their lunch hour.
After executive session.
I can't agree with that. Are we going to take a vote? I think we do need to
Thank
take
you.
a vote.
Executive session.
We have to talk at noon.
No, we don't have
Mayor,
to
we
vote.
need to take a vote to go into
No,
executive.
this is a special meeting. We don't need,
Well,
we don't need a vote.
there should be a motion, a second, and then a vote for executive session.
On special meeting, do we?
For executive session.
For executive session and the agenda.
So
If they come
if
in
there's,
34.
if there's a motion, there's
Okay.
a second, and then a vote.
All right, there is a motion. Second? All in favor? Opposed?
You're stiffing the community, Mayor.
What is it? We have several comments.
Mayor, if I may,
Go ahead.
since there's a second, my point of view is, I mean, everyone, whoever signed up has to give the chance to speak. It's either gonna be before or after executive session, so, if we get it out, if we let everyone have their moment, then, I agree about the lunch hour, and, the people that did take time from their lunch hour, I think it's fair.
Let's see, how many more comments do we have? I will allow it. All right, okay. We'll proceed with citizens' comments and then executive session. Mónica Rodríguez.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Monica Franz Rodriguez. I am representing myself as a Laredo resident this afternoon. First, I want to say I am a woman of faith, and so I'm obligated to 1 Peter 2:17, which dictates that due respect to all officials. So my preceding comments, my comments from here on out are intended to be very respectful, and I really want to communicate that to you. First of all, I want to respond. He left, Mr. Bryant, but what he was talking about was eminent domain. And it would be very interesting to me to see what the decision for this board, for the city of Laredo, historically, the decisions for eminent domain for public city roads, parks, and other public facilities has been. So if he's asking for fairness, I would like to see what the history is of the city. That wasn't my comment. I just feel very passionate about eminent domain. But he's right. Due process should be given. My comments are specific to the conduct of the board. First of all, I want to thank the mayor very much, sir. Your job is not easy. I do encourage, and I see that you're doing it today a little bit more, but gaveling when there is misconduct. But my concern is specific to the November 17th meeting where, and ma'am, my comments are directed to you very respectfully. I understand that you're a lovely person outside of the chambers, and so am I. Hopefully we can meet on other terms. But here, ma'am, I am quite concerned about a vote that was taken, and I was sitting right back there, which seemed to be very arrogantly opposed to a position that Dr. King had made with cooperation. I did, and I encourage everybody behind me to go ahead and look up the charter. Section 1.6 dictates that we should cooperate with other government agencies for the betterment of our community. There was 3 days of very passionate, and there is still today, very passionate testimony, ma'am, of people for or against. However, the 3-minute to 5-minute dissertation it was clearly stated that it was politically motivated. When the board was looking for a solution, there was no regard for the people behind me. And whether you're for or against, that is my concern, that things need to be nonpartisan for the benefit of the people. This seems to be a continuous thing. This seems to be I'm offended. I don't know about people behind me, but after a vote, there tends to be a dissertation, which I think would be better suited for a podcast. I think you would find great success, perhaps at a political position, state or national level. You're very eloquent, and I think that's something that you should probably consider. But this board, these citizens deserve something better. In Spanish, hubo 3 días de testimonio y no lo tomó en consideración. Dr. King, I want to give you the highest accolades, and you just demonstrated a position of leadership, and you did it again today, sir. And I want to thank you because you are politically aligned with Ms. Figueroa, but you're thinking about the residents and the testimony. And so I want to encourage you to continue to take that posture of leadership. I want to thank Councilwoman Figueroa, Ms. Perez, Mr. Gutierrez, and Mr. Garza, and I think Mr. Rangel. You all took another position looking outside of the box, even at the risk of backlash. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank you for that, because that was a risky move. These people may not appreciate it, but I personally do, and I recognize leadership when I see it. So thank you so much.
Oh, was it Edgar Villaseñor?
Villaseñor.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and City staff. Man, I'm really shocked right now because
Sir, your name for the record.
my name is Edgar Villaseñor. And if you guys read the room, you'll see that most of the people are on our side in the sense of we want more border security, but we don't want a border wall. And I already know what's happening. Trust me, I know what's happening. I know it's not just Laredo. I know it's Webb County, and I know, what's the negotiations that are currently going on in these places. So I am super disappointed because not only does my daughter want to be a mayor, because once I started working here, I started showing her like how I thought you guys were for the benefit of the people, but having a meeting during lunch and then especially seeing what you did right now, like I got my family out here, like, y'all were really gonna skip us out? Thank you, Mr. King. Yes, I know all of y'all decided to continue this, but only one person stepped up, and that's not cool because we already came to you and showed you that we're gonna lose Santa Rita Park. Southside people, if you know that, like, go look at the Border Patrol at the CBP website, and you'll see all the lands that we're gonna get taken away. For you guys to make that decision on your own during our lunchtime is not cool, man. That is not cool. So I just really wanted to say that because that's the only reason why I'm here, because I do stand for the people, and I do want to make sure that we get, like, not a freaking wall, and I said freaking, but not a wall. I want, like, there's investment. Where's the vision from our leaders, Like literally, where's the vision from our leaders? Or is there like someone talking to you guys on the side? because I have so many questions now that I understand. And a lot of people, I go jogging in Santa Rita all the time. People are fishing, people are jogging, and I know it's the same thing for Father Magnabo, but my folks don't know, and I don't think you guys have given them enough time to understand that like, who's paying for this wall? It's not Mexico, right? It's not Austin or Houston. It's the Laredo people that are paying for it. And this is not about stopping drugs and public safety, because these walls, you can still like just pass the thing through there, right? And then there's still car chases, right? So that's not the point. At a time of low historic crossings, we gotta use our high technology, and we have amazing Border Patrol and CBP strategists. It's 2025. We know this chess game. So I just want to let you know that I am upset that you guys are doing this on our lunchtime. And again, we oppose the border wall, but we do want security. However, you guys are supposed to be the ones with the vision. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to remind the public, we will not be making any decisions in executive session. So this has nothing to do with voting or not voting for it. Next comment is Jose de Leon. Diaz de Leon. Sorry.
For the record, my name's Jose Diaz de Leon, and I brought the next generation that's gonna be affected by your decision here today, right? This is the next generation, Carlo Daniel Diaz de Leon. He's gonna be a citizen one day, and he's gonna be affected. And what I'm here to speak about is my people. My people have been crossing this river for thousands of years, thousands. There's ruins up in Wisconsin where my people settled over there. And here we are, an insult to our culture, our people, with a wall that's gonna divide us. I have family in Nuevo Laredo, I have friends in Nuevo Laredo, and I have a young son that's gonna have to deal with a decision made today. I don't want it, I don't want the wall, it's an insult to me. I grew up on the Barrio del Tonto, along the river. I fished the river, all along the river. And now I can't exit the river. My son cannot access the river because there's a wall. That's not fair for his generation and the generations to come. Please, please, look in your heart and please vote against the wall. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Sue Galindo.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. For the record, my name is Mary Sue Galindo. I'm a citizen and I'm a proud Democrat. And I'm also a retired educator, and I'm glad to be retired because these meetings, this is the second meeting that I come to that is a noontime meeting that eliminates, that cancels the voice of other citizens who have to work and can't be here. So I would request that, you know, the meetings be made at a time when people can attend, because our voices carry weight. And I'm here to also to ask that you vote against a border wall. The wall is nothing more than a symbol of hate. That's all it is, a symbol of hate. Right here we have banners that say Laredo, the safest city in Texas. So why do we need a border wall? We're safe without a border wall. Why do we need a border wall? We don't. Crime is at an all-time low. Who do we believe? Our law enforcement or an outside narrative that says that we're overrun with immigrants, that crime is off the charts, and that our borders are open to anybody and everybody. Those are false claims, those are false narratives that are dangerous, that are going to trickle down and harm our community. One of the reasons that I am opposed to the border wall, besides our community being safe, is that it's a waste of money. Billions of dollars are going to be put into a wall that is not going to be effective, that is going to damage our ecosystem. We don't even know the long-term effects of it. And we could use that money to replace city pipes, to feed our people, to fund our schools. There's so much better use to this, for this funds than a border wall. Please don't give the feds permission to militarize our river and its banks. This has been a political obsession since Trump got into politics. The border wall is nothing more than a dog whistle to trigger fear and hate, and that is his legacy, hate. Look at what's happening with ICE. Look at the cruelty on people. We need you to defend our city, to protect our spaces, our river, our water source, our history, and stand up for our neighborhoods and our neighbors across the river. I urge you to forget about the poll and invest on expertise, legal experts, financial experts, environmental experts, and look at the big picture. What are the long-term effects before signing away our rights? If you allow this to happen, if you bring this shame upon our city, this will be your legacy. Thank you.
Jesse Herrera.
Some call me a poet, some call me the dude, but I've always been Jesse G. Herrera. Anything you might have heard about me is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the guilty. This is for Victoria, my granddaughter. Oh, beautiful, oh, brother, for spacious skies of FFA canceled flights, and apple rays of red, white, and blue, reflecting off the blacktop, wet of sweat and blood, as the icy rain pours down upon thy beaten, black and blue and purple too. You're tired, you're poor, you're huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. Above thy foodless food banks, above thy amnesty, above thy majesty, the new Colossus by Emma Azaris, demolished by Christopher Columbus 2.0, von Trumpenstein, whose appetite for subjugation, oppression, and brutality reigns in the land of the free, home of the brave, with Burger Kings and border walls and razor boys. This fight is more than about a border wall. It's about due process, not only for people, but for our lands. It's about our identity. It's about how they always take and take and take and take. It's about how our identity, how they always take and take and take. Their wall is a monument to white supremacy. It's a scar across our sacred land. Our land is as indigenous people, but they call us Latinos, Hispanics, wetbacks. So we will forget who we are. They make us think we owe them, when it is us, when it is them who have taken everything. Above thy fruited plains, while everyone slept in this so-called AI smart technology age, a massive catastrophic flood of the Guadalupe River raged on the 4th of July, 2025. A few days later, the feds were scrambling to remove the shipping container wall from the banks of the Rio Grande and Eagle Pass, Texas, for fear of a flash flood and a repeat of Kerrville, Texas. While everyone sleeps, the river waits. She sculptured this land, the river, the sky are sacred. They are our church. Unplug thyself and connect with the land. Oh, beautiful, oh, brother, for spacious FFA canceled flights and ample rays of red, white, and blue. Sí se puede. Gracias.
Tom Vaughn.
Mayor, Council, I'm Tom Vaughn. You give me some hard acts to follow. Yeah, well, probably not a surprise to anybody here. I'm really here to talk about the river and the effect of a border wall could have, certainly will have, if it's built on the city of Laredo and everything downstream. Okay, some of you, probably most of you, can remember back to 2010. We did have a flood. Okay, well, that flood rose 46 feet just to the bottom of bridge number 1. Some of us remember 1954. I wasn't here then, but I remember the flood of 54 in Laredo. And my point is, if we have a border wall, not only in Laredo, but upstream and downstream, there's going to be huge consequences of flooding, probably more on the Mexican side, actually, than on the U.S. side, because the water will be diverted to the Mexican side by this 30-foot bollard wall. And my question is, have you guys got any experts? Have you hired anybody to look at what the effects of such a thing will have on not only Laredo, but like I say, things downstream? I mean, it's mind-boggling to me that we are even considering such a travesty. But I know you guys have decisions to make, and unfortunately, you're up against the federal government that is not easy to deal with at this point in time. But I really hope that you're able to, maybe come to a reasonable alternative. I keep hearing about something called a smart wall. Well, a 30-foot bollard with a 7-foot foundation of rebar and concrete is not smart. Yeah, that's not smart at all. And then, let's imagine that someday a decision's made to remove it. Who's going to pay for that? If it costs $25 million a mile to put in, how much does it take to take out? It's just, I just encourage you to do everything possible to keep from a border wall being built essentially in Webb County. I mean, I don't know how many of you have been down to Zapata County looking at the wall that's already in place down there. In my 45 or plus years in Laredo, the river has been, very important to me and literally hundreds, if not thousands of students that have taken advantage of our location here to learn about ecology, biology, and so on and so forth. Now, this is just, this wall's not about me. I won't be around to see the long-term effects. But Danny boy, I guess Danny left, but that generation will be. And it's just, if I were a young guy looking for a job as a biologist and I got invited to visit Laredo, and I found you're gonna build a border wall, I'd be on the next plane out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. José Julio Ortiz.
Okay. Morning.
Morning.
My name is Julio Ortiz, for the record. Mayor, council members, and city staff. I'm an Aztec resident, which is very disappointed. I am joined here at the city council meeting with members of my community. We represent a diverse voting bloc of Aztec residents from Azteca. We have given our hearts for a project. We represent the same voting bloc, work tirelessly around the clock to defeat and bound initiative in the last election. We are here to put you on notice that if we don't get into survival mode instead of surrender mode, the fight for our community against the border wall, we will work 10 times tirelessly to make sure we are not defeated and that the ballot box in the next November, our survival as a community and prevention of our green space, because we do have a green space that's going to be taken away from us. Should be the focus in this fight. We are not all here to beg for you to save the parks La Palmas. Our only accessible green space, we are here to demand expect for you to fight for our park. On a final note, Mayor, you need to stop listening to main political advisors for political guidance and survival, and start listening to us, because your political survival depends and belongs to us now. Oh man. Excuse me, sorry. Show the community which put you in office that you will not be flattered threatened and blackmailed into submission. Laredo needs a brave hero with a strong voice. Be the voice. We need settle for nothing less. And that right there, I'll be honest with you, I'm expecting a lot more from you. You stand, you look the part. Your legacy is very important to us. Not because you want to fall, or falter to being a follower, which I know you're not. You want to be a leader, each and every one of you. And we expect nothing less. But we will change it at the end when November comes around and find someone who is willing to stand for us. This is no disrespect to anybody. We just need somebody that will not follow what people say, but do something that's worthwhile. The wall to me, it means nothing. It just means a piece of concrete that will affect our community, affect the ground. We don't even know what that's going to affect on the water table. Will it let water go through? The ecology? I'll feel like a prisoner already, and the wall hasn't gone up. For that, I wish that this, even the what is that called? Smart wall is the same thing as having the big wall. The buoys that are going to be put in the water will bring detriment. They'll capture, they're more like a trash trap. That's all it is, a trash trap. Sooner or later, that water will divert somewhere else. It'll catch people that get stuck in the floods, pulled down, maimed. Fisheries will get maimed. There's a lot of problems that are going to happen in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario Flores.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. My name is Mario Flores. I am the neighborhood cultural organizer at the Rio Grande International Study Center, and I work with 6 neighborhoods along the Rio Grande. What you have in front of you is a letter that was sent by one of our partner organizations, Earth Justice. The letter reads, Dear Mayor Trevino and City Council, Earth Justice submits this letter in support of the Rio Grande International Study Center and its efforts to protect the Rio Grande River and its connected ecosystems against the harmful effects of border wall construction within the Laredo community. Earth Justice is the nation's largest environmental nonprofit law firm, with over 200 lawyers and 15 offices nationwide. Along with RISC, Earth Justice urges the mayor and council to delay any action taken by this body on the proposed construction of a border wall and insists upon robust engagement and a transparent planning process. Border barriers endanger property, parks, wetlands, and wildlife habitats, and this council should ensure that any proposed construction is done in consultation with the communities that would be impacted by the wall. The Lower Rio Grande Basin is special. Every February, visitors from across the country come to Laredo to attend the Laredo Birding Festival with the hopes of seeing more lead seed eaters, gray hawks, and 4 species of kingfishes. But as this council knows, the Lower Rio Grande Basin was recently designated as one of the country's most endangered rivers by the American Rivers Organization. Laredo's public lands, which serve as a major migratory route for a diverse ecosystems of plants and wildlife, could be further threatened by a hastily constructed wall. And the city and its community members, including RISC, years-long work to protect and restore wetlands and riverbanks could be undercut without careful planning. Additionally, the Rio Grande River serves as the community's major and only source of drinking water. Any disruption to this precious water source could be catastrophic for this and other border communities in the region. Given what is at stake, we ask you as local leaders to ensure that those most impacted by a proposed wall are also able to engage the federal government in its proposed plans. Sincerely, Megan L. Riley and Marvin C. Brown IV. Thank you.
Thank you. Mario Flores?
That was it.
No, sorry. Okay. Silvia Bruni, sorry.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council and staff. My name is Sylvia Bruni. I represent the Webb County Democratic Party, and I represent myself also. I appreciate, Mayor, your comment that you made a little earlier that there would not be any action taken, because the item is a little confusing. It reads, discussion with possible action on updated information from DHS concerning the proposed construction of the wall within city limits, reaffirming community interests and setting a timeline for community poll. That tells me on one thing, possible action, but it also talks about community interests. I would ask you as you walk into executive session that you take into consideration everything you've heard today, in particular Henry Souvenet, Mr. De Anda, Tom Vaughn. I don't have to repeat everything they've already said, but you know we are the safest city in Texas. You know that drugs do not come across the river. You know that the crossings right now, I think, are amounting to 16 or 17 per day. You know what that will happen to our environment. You know what it will do to our relationship with our brothers and sisters across the river. You know all of that. You know that the wall is a medieval approach, as archaic as it could be, as useless as it could be, to a contemporary problem. You know all of that. What I would ask you, I have a feeling you might be up against a wall. I have a feeling you might not have any choices. I have a feeling you might be Los Angeles, Chicago, Washington, D.C. In spite of what the good people said, in spite of the data, the bullies still came in. What I would ask you, because we are making history, do not bow. Do not take a knee. Do not agree. Stand firm. No matter what you do, there's a strong possibility until the midterms, I hope, that they might continue to bully their way across this nation. Do not take a knee. Do not agree. Do not give away any of our land. That's what I would ask on behalf of so many of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Rosa Saucedo. Rosa Saucedo.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Rosa Sauceda. Mayor Treviño, miembros del Cabildo y gerencias de la ciudad. Represento gente del barrio Azteca. Nosotros somos una fuerza potente, estamos unidos y hablamos con una misma voz. Vengo enfrente de ustedes para expresar mi oposición al muro fronterizo. Estoy aquí para demandar que el mayor se ponga fuerte y que luche por los residentes de la Azteca. El área de Las Palmas es el único espacio verde que tenemos para los residentes de la Azteca. Nosotros merecemos un gobierno municipal que represente los intereses de los ciudadanos. Por eso fue elegido. Yo no espero nada menos que el mayor defienda los terrenos de Laredo, que son nuestro patrimonio. El muro fronterizo es un insulto a nuestra ciudad, que niega los deseos e intereses de nuestra comunidad. Mayor, si usted está listo para defender nuestra ciudad, entonces nosotros estamos listos y estamos aquí para apoyarlo y seguir la lucha. Cuente con nosotros, pero si está en contra de nuestros esfuerzos, entonces vamos a tener que buscar otro líder en la próxima elección. No estoy aquí para pedir que nos haga parte del proceso. Estoy aquí para demandar que incluya a los ciudadanos de esta comunidad en participar en todos los aspectos de esta lucha. Lo que pido, no más incluya miembros de la comunidad en esta batalla, pero también expertos como abogados e ingenieros para estar bien informados antes de que empiecen las negociaciones con el gobierno federal. ¿En qué cabeza cae que van a entrar a negociar sin consultar a los expertos? A lo mejor piensan ustedes y su asesor político son asuntos que pueden negociar con el gobierno federal. Es el colmo de la arrogancia y la ignorancia. Si siguen con estos pasos, el gobierno federal se los va a comer vivos y escupir sus huesos. Demando que antes de que empiecen el proceso de hablar con el gobierno federal, que establezcan un comité de ciudadanos y expertos para fortalecer a la ciudad y explorar todas las opciones, menos la opción de rendirse. No tengo miedo a la transparencia y de pedir ayuda cuando, no tenga miedo a la transparencia y a pedir ayuda cuando sea necesaria. Esta batalla no se pelea sola, sino con toda la comunidad. Acuérdense que el hombre sabio sabe pedir ayuda y para eso estamos. No se le olvide de su aliado más fuerte, la comunidad. Gracias.
Manuel Juárez. Manuel Juárez.
Good afternoon, distinguished mayor and city council members. My name is Manuel Juarez. I'm a resident of Laredo, and I'm here representing myself. I'm here to speak against the construction of the border wall. The men and women of the Laredo Police Department, Webb County Sheriff's Department, Border Patrol, Department of Public Safety, and the National Guard have done an incredible job keeping our community safe. Border apprehension is at an all-time low, and Laredo is the safest city in Texas and amongst the safest in the country. There are other needs that need to be addressed that our tax money for the wall could be used for. We could replace our water pipes and water infrastructure so we can avoid the frequent water boil notices and main breaks. We could also secure a much-needed secondary water source, which becomes more urgent if the wall construction were to pollute the river. Mr. Trump recently stated that the U.S. lacks the talent needed to construct and operate facilities needed to build batteries and computer chips and other components that we currently need to import. We could use the money to invest in our public schools, Laredo College and TAMIU, to develop the curriculum and facilities needed to train our students so they can become important leaders in this industry. The question really boils down to the council's legacy. Will this be the city council that allows the federal government to use our hard-earned tax dollars and disrespect our natural resources and heritage? Or will your legacy be the city council that uplifts the city and propels Laredo to its full potential? Thank you.
Emiliano Villanueva.
Good afternoon. My name is Emiliano Villanueva, and I'm representing myself. I'm a student at TAMIU. I have one question for you guys. What exactly are the costs for this plan? I'm not referring to the cost for the federal government to actually build the wall, but the financial cost to Laredo, in terms of loss of investments in land, infrastructure, natural habitats, and the quality of life, which so much will be destroyed if this plan gets built. Keep in mind, these costs are not just costs we would pay in the present, but ongoing for decades. Just as one example, you may not have considered the tax basis. If there are planned developments that will not be materialized, how much does that add up annually over decades? New subdivisions, how thousands of homes and hundreds of thousands of dollars annually are already in the process of being planned. I simply ask that we take into consideration how much money will be lost if this wall gets built. Furthermore, I am the son of a long line of immigrants, and I have a very deep connection with this river. I spend many of my days, many of my afternoons alongside this river. And the construction of a wall would separate me from that river. And not me, and many of you, all of you, have last names that are Mexican, have some sort of connection to Mexico. I feel that connection deeply. I spent many of my years as a child growing over there, and we started as one city. We have now been divided because of long historical process, but this wall would do nothing more than to divide us further. Mexico, be what it is many of our homes. It is my home. It is my parents' home. My parents came here in search of a dream, in search of a better place for me and my siblings. They believed in this country, and this country has time and time again failed them. This wall, it's an insult. It's an insult to me. It's an insult to you. It's an insult to your families and the long line of Mexicans that came before them. I strongly suggest you put up some sort of a fight, some sort of opposition to this wall, and think of not only yourselves, but us as people, as one whole, because we are one community, regardless, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter anymore. We have to think of ourselves, not what the national government wants. We have to think about what's best for Laredo. Thank you.
Thank you. Cecilia Garza.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
My name is Cecilia Garza, and I'm here as a Democrat, but also as a retired sociology faculty. I'd like to just support what has been said regarding opposition for this wall. I would ask you to please do your research, do the intelligent thing. For such an expensive endeavor, what tells you that this will be an effective wall? One of the courses that I used to teach was U.S. border cultures. And there's a lot of research regarding the push and pull factors that make people leave their homes. It is a wall that we have many Mexicans on the other side, and you can research this yourself, who have become entrepreneurs and have come up with a ladder and charge people to use the ladder to get across the border. And others that are selling tacos and who knows what, while people are waiting to get across the wall. We have to demand that such an expense should have some proof that it will be effective. We know that about 66% of the undocumented people in our country have flown in. What are you going to do? Build a wall in the sky? It makes no sense. With so much advanced technology, what happens to the comprehensive immigration plan, which I think many of us support, a humane way to have people file for asylum, protect their families, and come here legally. All support everything that's been said about how this is such an inhumane way to stop people from coming. So please demand the proof that this expensive wall will be of any help. What's next? Are they going to electrocute people? Where will you stop? We just keep letting them take over and denigrate us when we have so much to offer, when immigrants have built this nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Kayla Sanchez.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous. But here I go. Here you go. Hello, Kayla Sanchez, for the record. Good afternoon, Mayor
Afternoon.
and City Council. Has anyone ever asked themselves, why is Laredo here? Right here, in this spot, in this location? It is because of its strategic location along the river. We have a direct relationship to the river. People have crossed and settled along this very spot for thousands of years. Our city has existed here for 250 years. All of our original neighborhoods were built along the river. Without our connection to the river, we would erase the deepest part of ourselves and who we are as a community. we would not even exist as a city. This is not only an ecological relationship, but it is a historical and cultural one. It is an ancestral relationship. It is our birthright. Our nature trails are there. Our beautiful water museum is there. Our vibrant fishing communities are there. Laredo College is there. That river sustains a very important ecological corridor and habitat for all sorts of wildlife and us. A wall will impact everything from deer hunting to endangered species and everything in between. How could we ever allow our riverfront to get bulldozed? Let's be real about what this is. This is not about drugs or immigration or border security. This is about a massive land grab that will erase our heritage and take countless miles and acres away from us. Those seized lands will then transfer into the hands of the US government right under our nose on your watch. For what purpose? For extreme political theater? This is unacceptable. We are worth more than that. Do not allow Laredo to become collateral damage. Stand up for our heritage. Stand up for our history. Stand up for our people. You may ask, why am I here with these colors? These colors represent the four winds. The blue represents our water. The green represents our land. Why am I defending this land right here, right now? Because I have served it. I have my combat boots. I have served it. Please, please defend our people. Thank you.
Thank you. Jesus Garcia.
Good afternoon. My name is Jesus Garcia, and I am here as a concerned Laredoan. It is astonishing that our border town, which hosts several binational events annually with our sister city and other states from Mexico, is again considering the construction of this unnecessary and expensive border wall. The county recently hosted a Mercado Festival, hosting vendors from around Mexico, similar to the city's annual Sister City Festival. How detrimental will it be to see a massive border wall during your drive from one city to the other? Think of the economic impact. Think of the moral implications. There are recent talks about Mexico's need to meet and update its requirements for water distribution from the 1944 Water Treaty. It was noted in an LMT News article that the city depends on strong binational cooperation. How can we as a city ask for binational cooperation when we want to allow an unnecessary wall to be built between our states with little to no legal fight? We have been designated the safest city in Texas, as the signs say here, and at the top at the national level. How does this warrant a useless border wall? Border crossings are at an all-time historical low. How can anyone defend building an unnecessary barrier that will cost millions and millions of dollars to build and maintain? The border wall construction plans include adding razor buoys in the Rio Grande, our main and only water source. Do we not have enough problems with our water source already? Why do we want to easily allow this unnecessary construction to take place? The federal government has and is bypassing federal environmental and other laws, which has been done in the past regardless of the party in power. However, this administration has bypassed these laws for the entire southern border, not just sections. This will be very detrimental to our environment and disturb wildlife. It is during this last month that monarch butterflies migrate to Mexico, Building this unnecessary wall will disturb their migration, not simply by acting as a physical barrier for their migration, but the loss of their food source needed for the migration from the ongoing construction will be detrimental to the monarch butterflies. It is my understanding that the city will be conducting a poll to see where the city stands on this unnecessary border wall construction. I hope you all put as much effort letting the public know about this poll, similar to the efforts you take during your re-election campaigns. We do not want a repeat of the low turnout of the recent election and the recent budget survey that nobody really participated in. I implore you to do whatever you can to stop this unnecessary border wall construction. You can start by suing the federal government. It seems like they respond to lawsuits very well. So thank you for your time.
Margarita Raiza.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council
Afternoon.
members, Margarita Raiza. I can't believe that we are here again to talk about giving away the most precious resource that we have in our community, our riverfront real estate, the most valuable, the most historic, and yet here we are. Several years ago, we came forward again to do the very same thing, and at the time, we were told, there's nothing we can do, it's gonna happen, and it was stopped. It was stopped because we stopped it. This community stood up and stopped it, and it was remarkable and it was wonderful. You know, we keep talking about a border wall, but it's not really a wall. It's a fence, and it's going to run the length and breadth of this city and this county. And by the way, this conceptual rendering that was presented very briefly on the screens is not a new idea, and it was developed many years ago. I hope we're not going to consider a cutout offering crumbs in exchange for creating the wall in the rest of the city. Because if this is what the offer is, to cut out the area right around Tres Laredos Park and maybe the San Agustin Plaza, that's just not enough. What do you say to the rest of the community? No, not you. You all don't really count. It's just the downtown. It's so unfair on so many levels. As I was saying, the wall is not really a wall, it's a fence, and we are going to be on the other side of that fence. We're going to be caged into our own city as if we were second-class citizens, which is basically what we're going to turn into in our own community. I don't want to live in a cage, and I don't want my representatives to agree to put us all in a cage. I don't see, as other people have mentioned, how Laredo at this point is going to ever be able to attract young professionals. Being such a medically underserved community, how do we expect to attract young doctors to bring their families over here and help with the very much needed attention that this community needs? How will we attract professors, university professors, or even prevent further brain drain of our own homeborn citizens that go off to college and don't come back? If they see this cage that we are now reduced to living in, how many people do you think are going to say, yeah, I want to go live in Laredo? We celebrated Veterans Day just a couple of days ago, and I will say that you often hear veterans saying, freedom isn't free. I remind everybody here today of that, and the fact that we need to stand up and defend our community with everything we've got, with arming ourselves with information, with expertise, everything we've got. We can't just go up into these negotiations with nothing. I would remind you when you talk to your grandchildren in the future and they ask, were you there when this wall went up? What will you say? If they ask, what did you do? What will you say? I sat there and did nothing, or I gave it my best shot. I gave it everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Pete Hernandez.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Pete Hernandez. A great job by my brothers and sisters opposing the wall. They've left me speechless. They've taken the argument. It's pretty obvious by now that the majority of us do not want the wall, and we do not need it here in Laredo. Furthermore, Laredo is one of the safest cities there is. It's not like Chicago. It's not like Houston, where there's drive-bys, constant robberies, auto theft, crime at ridiculous rates. Laredo is extremely safe. Lots of federal agents, military, state troopers, PD, sheriff, you name it, we got it. That's why we're so safe and we don't need the wall. Yet, they portray us, Laredoans, and the border like savages. They portray us like a war zone, when that is not the truth. The crossings right now are at an all-time low. The border wall is outdated. It's medieval, and it's a huge waste of taxpayer money. That money can be used to provide homes for the homeless vets, feed the hungry. We can change the whole nation with all that money, yet the federal government decides not to do that. If the wall was to go up for those who are for the wall, are gas prices going to get cheaper? Are grocery prices going down? Is inflation going to be cut? Are the real issues going to be tackled in this nation? No, they're not. The border wall is not going to solve anything. What we need is a smart wall. You can tackle illegal immigration through other tactics, using technology, drones, sensors, more personnel, cameras. We got it, we can use it. We don't need to put up a concrete steel wall and damage the ecosystem here in Laredo and separate us further. I speak on behalf of everyone that's young. I'm 25 years old. I speak on everyone that's young and educated and has a heart full of love and peace and has a broader perspective on life. I ask that you hear our voices and that you stand with the future generations of Laredo. Don't listen to the people that have already had their time. Listen to our voices. Listen to the young voices. Listen to us. It is true. We are the future of this city. And I ask that you guys stand with us against the wall. Please, please, please do so. The younger generations are the future. And I ask that you oppose the wall. We don't need it and we don't want it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Brandon Cortez. Brandon Cortez. Chavez. Brandon Chavez. No? I can't read that. Okay. Jesse Fuentes.
Honorable Mayor, distinguished council, city staff and administration, and beautiful audience, pardon me for giving you my back. I'm not accustomed to that. Forgive me. My name is Jesse F. Fuentes. I'm here on behalf of the Eagle Pass Border Coalition and Epis Canoe and Kayak Team and the Rio Grande. This is the second time that I appear before you. The first time that I was here, I came to you as a harbinger of truth and consequences of what happens when you allow the state to invade your community. I was witness. I've heard a lot of people before me say, we need an expert. Well, you know what? I consider myself an expert because I've been in that river hundreds of times and I've seen what has occurred there. And I've seen what a wall can do to a community. When I was here, I told you that when you give the state an inch, they'll take a mile. If you're in this situation again, because apparently someone shot themselves in the foot and the state is here, now you're in the same situation again with the federal government. You give the federal government a mile, they're going to take your city. I can tell you because we are living under militarization. I have to call 10 different people to get into the river. Do you want that? I don't think so. What I'm here to tell you basically is that it's about the river. Yes. It's about the river. And Tom Bond said it specifically. If you don't protect the river, you're going to kill your community. You're going to kill future generations. Because I've seen what those buoys do. I've read what the federal government wants to do between Eagle Pass, Del Rio, all the way to Roma. They want to install buoys in the middle of the river. What that's going to do, it's going to split the river into two separate channels. If you're not aware of this, 75% of the watershed comes from Mexico. You're going to cut your water even less. The river has been declared one of the most endangered rivers in the United States of America. It doesn't need a community like Laredo to bury it even any further. What I'm saying is you need to think about the future. If you are looking for an exit ramp or some type of out, use that declaration of the river being declared an endangered river. Because if you don't, you're going to be limiting your water sources. And I'm here available because I've seen what those buoys do in the water. They deviate the water flow. And there's precedent. I sued the governor, and we won in Austin. And we won in the Fifth Circuit. The only option you have is litigation. Enough to pause this. Because if you don't, you're going to lose your city. You're going to lose your river. And you're going to lose the respect of these beautiful people. All I say is, if I may close with this, en español, protejan su cultura, su historia, su gente. Lo que es esta ciudad, este río lo sostiene a ustedes. Ustedes necesitan que defenderlo. Si no lo defienden, va a haber muchos problemas. No nomás para ustedes, nosotros lo vamos a ver. El futuro que viene lo va a ver. Y yo he visto lo que causa todas esas cosas cuando mueven el terreno sobre el río. Yo he visto los tractores en el medio del río. Yo he visto cosas feas. Y no quiero que pase lo mismo aquí. Por eso vine a hablar con ustedes otra vez. Gracias por su tiempo.
Roque Haynes.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, city staff. My name is Roque Haynes. I'm speaking as a citizen of Laredo who happens to work in the Azteca neighborhood along the river every day with these wonderful people which are helping to remove the invasive species and in reality complementing Border Patrol's security initiative of establishing a clear line of sight. Mayor, the fate of Laredo, Las Palmas, the Azteca neighborhood, and your political destiny hinge on whether you take a strong stance and defend the citizens of this community against the monstrosity of a border wall which will blight our entire community. The people of this community look to you for strong leadership. That's the reason you were elected. It is what the citizens of Laredo will be looking for next November. You talk about negotiations. Well, negotiations are battles of will. We need you to strengthen your will. As you know, history has shown us time and time again that you can never appease a bully. It only emboldens them. Hold strong. If you do, you will be remembered as a hero. Laredo, at this dark hour for Laredo, we need a man of courage, a man of conviction. We need from you the strength of a Winston Churchill to defeat this looming threat, not the appeasement and weakness of a Neville Chamberlain. Be that strong leader, and your legacy will be cemented as the defender of Laredo. Don't be remembered as the mayor who gave away Laredo's lands without a fight. Never give up. The people who put you in office will not forget. Thank you.
Thank you. David Almaraz.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm David Almaraz. I've been a lawyer here in Laredo for 45 years. I got here in 1980 as the lone assistant United States attorney for the Southern District of Texas. At that time, it was just George Kazin, myself, and one magistrate. We had no checkpoints on any highway leaving Laredo. I handled every federal case and got my conviction rate. At that time, the majority of cases, 80%, were aliens. 20% was drugs. What I'm trying to say is that you will always have people trying to come across. And it started since the Native Americans came across the Bering Strait, as Joey de Leon said. You will always have people trying to find a better life. And these walls, or whatever you want to call it, are not going to stop them. If our government wanted to stop this, they could try to see how they could help Mexico or the Central American or the South American countries that want to come over here because of war, because of hunger, because of poverty. But no, they just simplistically say, build a wall. And I was very, very happy to hear most of the speakers here speak against it. The few that did speak for it, I was astonished. One of them mentioned that 5,000 Haitians were brought across, and that, to me, that's just unacceptable. But it is exactly what is coming from Washington. Hatred, like a young lady said, racism, that anybody that dares come to our country has to be a criminal. Well, I hate to tell you folks that are speaking for the wall, the biggest criminal is in the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. right now. And in my 45 years, 5 with the federal government, 40 in private practice, I have seen the rule of law slip away, little by little. A bought and paid for Supreme Court, to where I'm not ready to retire. I've been doing this for 48 years. But it makes it more difficult when you say, well, the Supreme Court will take care of it. No, they won't. They will listen to that criminal in the White House. And that's just not acceptable. Now, this wall, I've been hunting all my life. I use a bow, so that, I give them a chance. A lot of people here say, well, I own 5 miles of ranch land, of 5 miles of highway. And you know what? I'm going to stop deer from going in and out by putting 1 mile of fence. I mean, that's what this wall is. You're going to put a fence from a few miles outside of Laredo to a few miles this side of Laredo, and that'll stop the problem. No, they go around. They go under. They go over. They go through. A wall has never, ever in the history of the world stopped people that want to get across. The Great Wall of China didn't stop anybody. The Berlin Wall didn't stop anybody. The horrible wall in Tel Aviv. It is basically saying, you people are to be feared, and we don't want you here. So, what do? Please, 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 form a committee of citizens, just like the ones present. Please don't, like the gentleman was saying, don't give in to the federal government, especially one that is as corrupt as the one we have. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, City Council, City Management. I'm here representing the middle-aged fathers of 2 children, not the young people, but the middle-aged. I'm here because this is a really important issue. It's something that impacts us all. It's something that my 6th great-grandfather would never have imagined when he founded the city of Laredo, that we would be so divided over something that is conceptually unacceptable, right? I run along the river, I swim the river on the Mexican side weekly. I have friends, I stay across the river weekly. I find this to be a very difficult time in our history. My humble opinion, as someone that has been involved in an eminent domain litigation as an attorney and a licensed real estate broker in Chicago for over 20 years, is that this is the time that you do want to talk and negotiate. Not because you are in favor of the wall, but because everyone knows that this is not going to be an easy fight. This is not going to be something that's going to be won in the courts. Primarily, some people have the misconception that eminent domain proceedings are processes like other pieces of litigation, when it's actually the opposite. The government has a 95 to 98% win rate in these cases. And that's for a big reason. It's because it is basically one of their constitutional powers. It's based in the Fifth Amendment. This doesn't mean that you agree to have a wall. I think the city has already established that. But we need to be aware of what's at stake. And if it requires a fight, then so be it. But exhaust all your options. I agree, Mr. Fuentes, I thought your speech was heartfelt. I don't know if you've seen those movies where they have people from the future come back and visit us, and they tell you this is what the future looks like. That's what I felt when he said what he said. That's very important. You know, while it may feel good to not negotiate and fight first in the beginning, the unfortunate reality is that the law is not on our side when it comes to eminent domain. It does not mean that we do not have any tools. I also want to remind you and everyone here today that if it wasn't for President Biden taking office January 2021, this border wall would have come to us earlier. We would have had this fight earlier. He rescinded the 2019 National Emergency Declaration at the southern border previously issued by President Donald Trump to redirect military funds for wall construction. So please consider all the issues impacting, and please negotiate before you fight. I think this is an important thing to remember. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong, it makes you intelligent, and it makes you better equipped if you hire the right experts, the right expertise. And always remember that the people are behind you. We are not we're not a people filled with hate. We're a people filled with love and peace, and we reach across the aisles to make things better. So I thank you for your time.
Brandon Chavez. No, it's not here. All right. If that's the end of it. All right.
Mayor?
Go ahead.
You know, I know we're getting back to do some deliberations across, but I think we do have an opportunity, a moment, to move on at least a couple of items, I believe, that I do not believe will impact our discussions across. I would like to move that we instruct city management to hire attorneys to be able to better inform us of our options, to include strengthening our ability to negotiate with the federal government, because as was pointed out, these are very serious negotiations. The expertise exists outside of our municipal attorney's office. So I am inclined to move now because I want people to know that we listen and we understand the seriousness of the moment that we were in. And I think we can do this, we've already have enough information to be able to move on this item to instruct our city management to hire legal experts in order to make available to the city that legal expertise as we weigh our options in our negotiations and any further actions we may have with the federal government.
All right, before we go to that, we'd like to go to executive session. So we're not gonna allow that motion until we do executive session. Yes.
Mayor, sorry, I went to the restroom, I missed the motion, I apologize.
Okay. So an executive session and special council meeting.
Be there,
Got here super early.
I was here before all of them, and I did not get a chance to speak.
What?
I was here on time, I don't have any friends on city council.
What's your
but I
name?
did fill out my card on time.
What's your name?
Maxine Reveles.
We don't have the cards.
We don't have the card.
We don't have those cards.
Point of order, do we have a motion on the floor?
There is a motion that
Check
needs to
over
be
that
voted on.
folder, Mayor.
I was here on time, you always check the cameras. When she came in here late, someone else filled out her card.
Settle down, Maxine. The point,
Go back because she did not talk and we have your card.
yes, but a point of order, Mayor, we do have a motion on the table.
Yes, but I'm not gonna allow that motion.
I-
We're gonna go back to
I would,
the citizen comment.
could we have our
But
attorney?
Mayor, there is a motion and a second, and either you need to deliberate or take the vote, unless it's withdrawn, but there is a motion.
Mayor, if I may?
Go ahead.
I appreciate the motion, but we do have legal discussions that need to be had in the back. And the public seems to believe that we're going to make decisions in the back, which is not true. There are facts in this situation that we don't have all the information to, and that's what we're needing to get. We've heard everybody's opinions, we understand where people stand, but there are legal facts that we also need to be privy to. And I think we can take that motion after we get all the facts that we don't have first.
With all due respect, you have a large segment of the community here that is taking time from their work, they're losing money in order to be here and participate. And if you're gonna go in there for
Yes.
2 hours, you're stiffing the community. I just want you to understand and realize what's
Mayor,
happening
if I may?
here.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Danda, you're an attorney and you know how executive session works.
I do know how executive session works, and I can tell you that you don't need an executive session to deal with her issue. You're gonna go in there and you're gonna spend 2 or 3 hours, and there's community members here that would like to participate.
Order,
Yes.
please.
Who else didn't get to speak?
So, all right. So there is a motion, and there's a second, so
All right.
you need to address that motion.
Do we have to order it? Oh,
Repeat it, Mayor?
understood.
Okay.
Do we have to order it? We do have a motion, we have a second.
And
Repeat the motion, please.
I will try. If I forget something, though, you have it there, right? So it is to instruct city management to hire attorneys who are experts in the fields that we will need to be advised on as we enter into these negotiations with the federal government, to be able to discuss the options available to us in order to strengthen our position.
That is your motion?
Yes.
And the second.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead.
So my vote is not gonna be based on that I'm against it. My vote is gonna be based on that I need to hear some information that I don't have first before I can agree to that.
All right, where do we stand here, legal?
If there's a call to the question, we vote on the question.
All right.
Vote on the motion.
So your friend can get to speak late, but I can't.
We have your card but Councilmember Cigarra made a motion for us to entertain the motion, so you're next after we take the vote.
We have your card here, hold on. All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. This one, okay. We're gonna go back to the citizen comment we missed. Maxine Reveles.
There's another one that was missed.
I was here super early.
He was here before me.
Yeah.
I lent him my pen.
What's his name?
All right, we'll identify him. Go ahead and do your comment, please.
Hi, my name is Maxine Reveles for the record, and I've been going around Laredo to take some videos. Some of y'all might have seen them. About what we stand to lose given the information that we have. I was able to show only a few places because we're going to lose so much. The proposed wall or buoys, if you don't consider the wall, would impact nearly 20 Laredo neighborhoods with thousands of residents who live there. Moving upstream to downstream, we have in the Mines Road area, Deer Creek, La Bota, Indian Sunset, Aqueno, Villas San Agustin, Rancho Viejo, Quail Creek, Lowry Farm. In West Laredo, my neighborhood that I grew up in, Cantarranas, La Ladri. In Central Laredo and downtown, El Cuatro, El Azteca, Chacon. And Chacon, like, why are you all even, like, attempting to put buoys in there when it's so low? In South Laredo, Santo Niño, River Hill, Santa Fe, Masterson, Santa Rita, College Heights. Outside city limits is Rio Bravo and El Cenizo. I don't even know if they're prepared for this. The wall would also impact nearly 7 riverfront parks. In some cases, these riverfront parks are the only green spaces, like these residents who have been putting in the work said. Those will be taken away with nothing to be put in their place. Our residents and your constituents are being given nothing in return for these incredible laws. The wall would also eliminate future economic, cultural, and ecological opportunities to develop our waterfront. This future will be taken away from us as well. What city with riverfront like ours would do that? What would we be given in return for the loss? What does your decisive decision mean for our community? If this wall isn't about immigration, but about a campaign promise, we definitely don't need it. And that's according to you and your words. Your actions speak so much louder than your rambling words. If you go into executive session, we should know what Vanessa Perez is thinking and what she's considering before executive session. As far as the rendering, I can put up a picture of a castle and say you're gonna get it, and that doesn't mean you're gonna get it. And my door and my fence doesn't have the potential to affect our only source of water in people's lives.
Mayor.
Did one identify
Mayor,
the other ones?
the 3 other people that signed up for public comment, Louis Myers, Maximiliano Prado.
Louis Mayer? Go ahead.
What's the other name?
Louis Myers, Maximiliano Prado, and Brianna.
Honorable Mayor and Council, good afternoon, fellow Americans, fellow Texans, and fellow Laredo citizens. I am Louis Meyer, graduate of Martin High and LJC. After graduating from Texas Tech, I was commissioned as a naval officer. My ship provided naval gunfire support for ground troops in Vietnam. As an American, I lament the recent massive influx of undocumented and unvetted immigrants. this did not happen due to the lack of border walls, but because of the policies of the last administration. As a Texan, I see the Rio Grande as a living part of our history and heritage. My paternal grandparents crossed this river to become U.S. citizens. Allowing federal government to block access to this valuable Texas resource without a fight is not who we are as Texans. Or is it? Is is placid capitulation to this land grab who we've become? As a Laredoan, I am against the proposed wall for many reasons. I can see no benefit to us for this wall. Laredo has held the line on unwanted crossings without a wall. I believe we could diminish illegal border crossings using existing, less invasive technology. Shouldn't we try to delay the wall as we look into this alternative? You just can't put lipstick on a pig. This unnatural eyesore will deny generations of Laredoans access to the river's water, its fish, its beauty, and its recreational possibilities. Once built, this wall is forever. The council's action will affect our great-great-great-grandchildren. Your action on this matter is not about placating state and national leaders who are in power today and are replaced tomorrow. Not unlike yourselves. The city of Laredo may not win this battle, but it is our battle to bravely fight. We must seek allies in this fight and make our collective voices heard. The honorable actions in this fight will justify the honorable titles which the citizens of Laredo have entrusted you with. You may take pride in your honorable resistance to this wall, or enjoy having your names placed on a bronze plaque on this wall as a testament to your acquiescence. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. Brianna Andrews.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. For the record, my name is Brianna Andrews, and I am a biology student at TEMU, and this topic is very personal to me. First of all, holding a special session on a Friday noon with little notice limits public participation in a matter that will shape our city for generations. Additionally, many of the issues discussed today are already listed on Monday's regular council agenda. This raises serious questions about why the discussion is being rushed outside the standard process. Decisions of this magnitude with consequences that will last a century or more should not be made in a way that feels rushed or obscured from the public. Like, let's be real. I'm 19 years old. Does it look like there's many people my age that were able to come to this meeting? Like, no, we have school, we have work. So this also damages trust in our local government. Next, when it comes to safety, I will briefly say, purely based off online data, Laredo is already one of the safest cities in the United States. The signs are right here that even say that. Year after year, data from the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting Program has shown that Laredo remains among the top-tier safest metropolitan areas for violent crime. Like others mentioned, there are other ways to promote border security. Next, I also want to emphasize the environmental consequences of constructing a border wall along our river. Whichever political beliefs you have, okay, that's you. That's okay. But it is a fact that the structure would severely disrupt wildlife corridors, damage native habitats, and undermine the ecological health of the Rio Grande River. Well, if y'all are not aware of, the Rio Grande is Laredo's only water source, and it's already endangered, and it's already drying up. And we're worrying about a border wall that would ruin that. On top of that, costs a lot of money. We could be investing in this river. And then for those supporting the wall, as someone who's lived in Laredo in my 19 years of living and in the South, I have rarely ever had to worry about my safety. But you know what I have worried about? Whether me or my future generations will have safe, secure water by 2050. That's what I have to constantly worry about. And I know a lot of Laredoans feel the same, and it's not just me. And it's not just young people. As a biology student who has been involved with the Rio Grande International Study Center for years, I can assure you these impacts are not hypothetical. They're not. They are measurable long-term harms that our city will have to live with long after this council leaves office, respectfully. Please do not rush this decision. Please do not surrender our riverfront to a project that would cause irreversible environmental, cultural, and social damage. Young people in Laredo are watching. We're all watching you. And we will remember how our leaders choose to protect or disregard our home. Please include us in this conversation and this decision, and please consider future generations, your grandkids, grandkids, everyone, not just people, the environment, the wildlife that are going to be damaged by this, and just everything overall that I have mentioned. Respectfully, thank you. Remember what I'm saying when your grandchildren will ask you what you did when it came to this decision. Thank you.
Maximiliano Prado. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. My name is Maximiliano Prado. I'm here on my own behalf today to talk on today's agenda item. I don't remember the first border battle fight back in the first Trump administration. It was 2019. I was a sophomore, junior in high school. I knew the wall was discussed in the media, in the national news, that it might be brought to Laredo. But, I was 16, maybe 17. I wasn't really actually as focused on what was going on in the news. But I just knew that at the end that we won, right? The wall was not built. We pushed back, and I didn't think much of it. Now, this is coming up to our city again, right? But I'm wondering what's different this time around. What's changed? Did the federal government get a new power, new ability, new law that they can just do more now? And that's what let me look back and do my research, right? What's different compared to then and now, right? So, I saw an article, and it was saying the same exact things are being discussed back then. Oh, if we fight back, they'll just use eminent domain. If we fight the legal battles, they're gonna win regardless. Why even put in the fight? It can be expensive. It's gonna lead to nothing. Eminent domain is such a complex law that they're gonna win. Same thing. Then you need to negotiate, etc., etc. But now, looking back, we know that's not true. The battle was placed. There was litigation, and the wall was not built. So why are we thinking that it's now the same exact circumstances, the same exact threats, and now they will win, right? We should put in the battle, even if it takes months, weeks, years. Because like I said, we can probably wait it off to either midterms or hopefully even the next presidential next presidential term, like it happened last time, where Biden was able to move the funding or cut the funding, and we did the wall. The difference is the will to put in the battle. And because of that city council back then, I've been able to enjoy the river. I've been able to hike, kayak, and I even got this car cycling across the river. And and yes, it hurt, but looking back, I'm glad I was able to have that experience, because if that city council hadn't put in the fight, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And I know there's no vote being discussed today. I know you already discussed that. But what I'm here today is to urge you to negotiating with bad faith actors it's not gonna lead to anything. It's gonna lead to the demands being met and our community keep losing again and again. As we already are militarized. Yes, we don't have a wall, but we have military state guard. We have 10 striker vehicles in Laredo. Like, we are keep giving them inch after inch after inch. What's next after this wall? And it is time to stop negotiating with bad faith actors, and it's time to start defending and standing up for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Mayor, may I ask for the privilege to do my report before we go into executive session? I believe it'll help everybody understand a little bit of what our position is and why we're going to go into our executive session, if that would be okay. Go ahead,
Mayor,
Council.
I just want to clarify one thing, that whatever you're going to present hasn't been presented to the rest of us. These are negotiations and discussions that you've had, and I know the mayor has had some.
This will all be based upon a recommendation, not as a complete thing.
Right.
But I believe that this will be helpful for everybody to understand what's going on.
Well, just so the public knows, this is the first time we're going to see it as a council as well.
Yes.
Yeah, with that in mind, yes, go ahead.
All right, and Mayor and I thank you, Mayor, thank you, City Council, for everything that you do. Thank you for all of those that were able to come out and speak their personal opinions as to what needs to happen. Their voices are appreciated. I do want to talk a little bit about, before I even get started, some of the things that frustrate me a little bit, because I always hate the attacks, I hate the chastisements, I hate threats, I hate a lot of those things that happen when they're attacking your integrity as council members. Each one of you and every one of you, you are a true cross-section of this entire community. And I want to make sure that I say that because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. I think there's lots of misunderstandings, and I understand the passion, I understand the concerns that everybody has, but I want everybody to understand that we're trying to work all the way through this thing. It was interesting to hear that we should not do a poll, however, we should listen to the people. I believe that that is something that we have to kind of watch for. Now, maybe the poll's not the right way to do it, but I believe we can make it function. I just wanted to mention a little bit about the transparency, because I think there's a misunderstanding there as well too with the public. This body cannot act unless it's in session. This body cannot function outside of these walls. It has to meet in order to do that, and this is why we are here. I think that needs to be understood by everybody. Also, we cannot share our entire strategy within this structure in the public venues. It makes no sense to talk about the entire strategy and say this is how we're going to try to get the federal government or the state government to hear us or to pay attention to us. It just doesn't make sense to let that happen. I apologize to the public for that, but that's the nature of how it goes. If we do it in the public, then everybody knows that strategy. And I think we want to be very careful of that. It does remain my recommendation that the city will always remain at the table, always remain at the seat, have a seat at that table with the state and the federal government. If not, I can guarantee you we will get everything that we do not want. And I want to make sure that I said those things. I do appreciate the comments and everything, but I think that's the stuff that gets lost in this conversation. My presentation, and I will go through it as quickly as I can. I think everybody's going to hear little bits and pieces about what we've been talking about. And this is kind of building out the framework as to, so there is an understanding, because you hear all that passion in there. The public really wants to know exactly where we're at with that. So the purpose today is to outline the city's coordinated approach to the federal border security actions along the riverfront. Our focus has always been and will continue to be safety, flood control, infrastructure protection, and maintaining local control wherever possible. I can make sure that I can get this to work. There we go. The city's primary position on border security. Laredo's long-standing position, and it remains today, and I hear it from every one of you, is that no physical wall in the urbanized area. We're not in favor of that. We understand that importance of the river. We do support layered security, personnel, technology, joint operations. It is all of who we are, and I think that's very important to understand. The physical structures only when federally required and only if they protect public safety, flood control, and operations. That's the whole structure of where we're at. The framework that I am sharing with you does not endorse a wall. It protects Laredo if federal agencies move forward with their actions. If I could only understand how to make this all work. There we go. So, I've already mentioned what our primary responsibility or our primary focus is. Our primary policy is we would rather not have a physical wall ever. That has never changed for every one of you. But if we are not prepared, we are not capable of negotiating. We are not capable of standing along with these individuals. So the federal government has a clear authority to proceed without local approval. They have the eminent domain ability in order to take property and get done what they have to do. A framework ensures local safety, access, utilities, and operations that are, and keep them protected. It prevents unilateral designs that can harm the riverfront or city infrastructure. We want to make sure that we are involved all the way through those steps. It gives the city a structured professional process and a single coordinated voice. It ensures we are prepared for accelerated federal timelines. And again, that's what we've been seeing, that's what we've been hearing, is that they're on a fast track. I'm gonna state it again. We've heard a lot of this already. Laredo is the #1 port of entry in the United States. We remain there. We have that economic power that we have. Laredo is consistently ranked as the safest city in Texas. Local law enforcement conducts daily joint operations with DHS, CBP, HSI, DEA, and FBI. The border security is a shared mission rooted in professional coordination. That coordination is what helps make us the safest city. Laredo security success is a product of that coordination, not the physical barriers in the urban core. And any federal infrastructure should enhance, not hinder, that joint security operations. We all believe that. It was mentioned about our floods, and I went ahead and put the slide together. I found one of the pictures from the 2010 flood. But in 1954, we had a major flood. It took out some of the bridges. 2010, the water came to right below the bridges. We all understand that we have concerns about flooding within our community. And these events, these two large events, actually help shape the IBWC and the FEMA regulatory frameworks that we are utilizing today within our city. It reinforces the need that any structure that goes in is flood compliant. And that is one of the strongest positions that I believe the city can have. These flood events demonstrate that incompatible structures may redirect water, damage utilities, and impact both the U.S. and the Mexican communities. I wanted to talk a little bit about the plans that we have out there. That this is not new. We have a framework over the last 15 years of walking through this. We have the Rio Grande Vega Master Plan. It was mentioned. It talks about the riverbank restoration. It talks about controlled access as priorities. It talks about graded terraces. It talks about reinforced access corridors. acknowledging the need for the hardened, flood-resistant edges. And this is about the need for controlled access and elements consistent with dual-purpose flood wall concepts. We have a 2019 flood protection plan that we put together. This was modeled after the 1954 and the 2010 flood profiles. It recommends reinforced structures in the flood-prone river zones. It is also compatible with a dual-purpose infrastructure approach. The Binational River Park, the summary on that. It includes public safety and security improvements within that structure. It envisions controlled access, and it has a secure open view corridors. It supports compatible dual-purpose barrier concepts, and the plan does not oppose federal security. It emphasizes compatibility and shared stewardship. The Viva Laredo Comprehensive Plan. It prioritizes safety, mobility, and sustainable infrastructure, public access and protection of riverfront assets. The city's position aligns with long-term policy direction. All those documents show the history and everything that the city has been looking at for a number of years as to how to tackle this feature. Let's go into the recent Border Patrol meeting that we had and the key takeaways. The federal engineers have shared that they have a rapid timeline for construction. This is what the mayor's concern is. This is why we're having these conversations, is because they have a rapid time frame. The alignment route was shared with mayor and the city staff. The emphasis is on uninterrupted federal progress. That's the intent of where it's all going. These technical discussions have allowed Laredo to get involved earlier than what they had to be. And we want to make sure that we understand that. This slide was shared as well too. Here's the construction contract award timelines. This is what was shared. This was presented by the federal engineers. If you look, November 2025, they have what's called the north end work, which is from the railroad tracks to the north. They have it already out for an RFP for looking for a design build contractor in order to start the work on that end. By March, they hope to have the south end, which is from the railroad bridge to the south. And so it is coming. It is happening, and it's happening very quickly. This federal concept route, this matches up exactly to what everybody sees on the CBP site, the DHS site. This alignment is where their concept route is, and they have, based upon the previous administration back in 2016 and 17, they're utilizing that data as well for moving faster within this structure. And so these are the conceptual routes. These slides were shared with us as well. The conceptual rendering, and I understand everybody, these are just pictures for this. These were what was presented as concepts for that. What this does do for us is it opens up saying that they are receptive to other alternatives than a bollard type wall. And I believe that is a opportunity for us in order to have that conversation and talk about those structures. And so I think when the mayor talks about the sensitive areas that we have and everything, I think we have the ability to, if we have to get at the table, to have a conversation about other alternatives to just the, I call it the Jurassic Park wall, for lack of a better way to say it. It's a big metal structure. All right, and here's the other flood wall concept that was shared within there, and I think this gives us at least the opportunity while we're at the table to have those conversations. All right, the city's preferred concept, and please again, it is not a preferred alternative. It's the least harmful option if federal construction proceeds. A dual-purpose flood wall, bulkhead and security enhancements where it matches up We don't believe that we need the security to that level of a physical barrier. We believe that we need some flood assistance. We believe that we need these other alternatives. And so the whole conversation, if we have to go into a conversation, we want that structure to kind of match up to that dual purpose. We want to make sure that we maintain river access on the city side for operations and public safety. I think that's a very important piece to us, as been expressed in our people. We want to make sure that it meets the DHS scaling guidelines and the federal security objectives. We want it compatible with the floodplain dynamics and historic river behavior. We want it to preserve municipal infrastructure and emergency response routes. That's our preferred concept. Some of the challenges we have, and it was expressed a little bit today, not as much as it probably could have been, but the land ownership reality along the river corridor. The riverfront parcels include both city-owned and privately owned property. The city controls the key areas containing parks, utilities, and rights-of-ways. The private parcels are scattered throughout and not represented by any single group. Federal agencies must coordinate with the city regarding the infrastructure and the access. The private owners must negotiate individually with the federal government. This mixed ownership pattern reinforces the need for a city framework, at least for the property that we control and maintain along the river corridor. Property rights coordination. The city cannot and does not negotiate on behalf of the private landowners. The city coordinates only for the city-owned property and provides general information. We're happy to help these property owners. We just can't negotiate for them. We're not the entity for that. To ensure the consistency and the transparency. The city ensures that the municipal assets and utilities are protected. It supports a fair, good faith communication with DHS. And the city maintains neutrality regarding all those private negotiations and does not interfere with the landowner decisions, because as we heard even today, there are differences of opinions on a lot of different topics, and ours is about looking at our community as a whole. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. All right. Federal security cooperation, and in our conversations, we've talked about this a lot. The city supports federal anti-fentanyl, anti-human traffic operations. We don't approve of any of those illegal operations that are occurring. The city is very, very supportive of that action. We are continuously, safest city, again, our local law enforcement conducts daily joint operations with all of those agencies, the alphabet team, right? We are with them continuously. We have one of 8 anti-gang centers in the state of Texas. And so we work very closely with them at all times. Any federal infrastructure should enhance, not obstruct these operations. We believe in technology, personnel, and coordinated enforcement remain the most effective tools. I think the challenge we have, based upon some of the conversations that we've already had within the public opinions and everything, is that a lot of this is outside of our prerogative. I mean, we don't disagree with that. There's a lot of different ways to spend federal money, which was our money in the first place. But I think that is the thing that everybody needs to keep in mind as well too. Physical infrastructure is only one component of layered border security. There is probably a purpose and a time for physical infrastructure, but it is not the only. And I believe as we continue to grow as a country and we find different ways, I think we can find even better technology. The technology today is so much better than it was even 15 years ago. All right, the framework overview. Our purpose is to remain with a cooperative approach with the DHS, CBP, IBWC, and the FEMA. Our focus will be on security, flood safety, treaty compliance, and public access. We want to make sure that we remain in alignment with our long-term planning documents. We believe that that is a very important piece of our strategy as well too, is that we've looked at this, and this will give us that credence if we have to be at the table. The guiding principles of what we have, and I believe this is something that we have always tried to maintain, is partnership, not necessarily opposition. There are different opinions. Again, we heard it with our entire public. We have difference of opinions. Laredo's strength is its diversity of its people and its coordination with everything. That is what it is. It should not be looked at as necessarily opposition. These are all partnerships. This is all family. And I think that's something that needs to continually be driven home. Our guiding principle should, we believe that the floodplain and the treaty compliance is something that is will be very important within our structure. The urban compatibility, no solid wall within the urban sectors. We believe that there's other alternatives within that, and we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to share the potential of those alternatives. If we're not at the table, we will not get to share any of that information, and I think that's the thing that we're trying to keep going. The operational continuity within that, we want to make sure that we stay connected, we're able to move back and forth. And yes, transparency and community input is very important within this. The challenge is, I think, at the same time, this body is who gives the vision so that the public understands what we're doing. You can only do it from this room. And that's the thing that I want to make sure that everybody understands. They have to understand that we have to meet in order to have the transparency. And that's why I think I hate the misinformation that occurs occasionally when they believe that we're going to do one thing and we end up going the other way. All right, this is not, I don't believe that it's free, and I believe that we have to be prepared accordingly. We put together a very preliminary technical coordination budget. I believe once we get through our the closed session talk, and if the council actually agrees with those, we believe that we do need to set up some funding in order to help cover some incidental costs within this.
Point of order. She left her key on the table, and she's just trying to get her key, so I don't know if we can let her get her key, and then that way.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry.
It's okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I understand when my back's turned to everybody. All right.
You got a police escort. She can't approach you without a policeman.
No. All right. So that we do know that we're going to need some incidental costs, and because the action, anytime we spend money, it takes council action in order to get that done. The SMEs, of course, are subject matter experts. The engineering, hydrology, environmental, legal, we just talked a little bit about. We do believe that we need a budget for that. The public engagement includes the funding for the poll. And I think I have a slide for the poll, so I'll save that till next week.
Mr. Knapp, can I interrupt you real quick? On legal, on the first line, you say legal. Does that include the legal that was just motioned and passed?
The intent was not to go there to that level for that. That number would not have included it. It would have included at least some legal conversations, but not necessarily putting them on a retainer.
So we don't have a legal.
I believe what we will do is, and again, if I'm not able to meet this budget, I would be back in front of you as the city council saying we need additional, or I guess it's always nice if we spend less, but I anticipate that we'll spend at least this, I believe, on this whole structure. Intergovernmental coordination, whether it be travel, whether it be conversations in DC, whatever those conversations are, communications and mapping. We actually believe, and back in 2020, back during the recent, the past incidents and everything, when we walked through this before, we actually developed out where we took the smart map and overlaid it over all of our infrastructure, and I see other people have done that as well too. We're using our engineering department in order to lay that over there because we truly want to know the impact to all of our infrastructure, because that's what's going to affect the value of anything if we have to get into that conversation of eminent domain. Of course, we always build in a contingency for that, and then we try to set that budget for that. More than likely, as we move, it will adjust within that structure. One of the things is that if this was to get into an eminent domain type decision, where we have to receive some type of restitution for selling our property, these numbers will be worked into all of that. And that's the intent, is that if we have to put together all this information in order to make whatever has to happen, then we should be able to recover all of that. Pretty much exactly how it was said earlier, I think, in one of the public comments. Public engagement and polling. All right. We are looking for a statistically valid bilingual survey. We want to make sure that we understand all of our residents' expectations. We want to integrate this into the framework of council decision-making. I intentionally haven't put the questions in here yet because I don't want anybody to pre-prepare for the poll. And we are hiring a company in order to do the poll because we want to go door to door. We want phone calls and we want that because I believe the one gentleman that had spoke about we don't want it to be as poorly attended to as our budget survey. And I think the idea is that this is why we're going to use an outside firm in order to go door to door if we have to. I believe we have to hit statistically that right number of our population in order to show what the entire community will believe in within these 10 questions. I'm happy to share the questions with you. We can do that in the closed session as well too, but I just wanted to make sure that there was no preemptive strike on that information because we want it to be as valid and factual as it is. Federal non-coordination contingency. So there's a chance that we'll be unsuccessful within all of our conversations. What we intend to prepare for, and that is to document any of the impacts to our utilities and our access corridors. We want to make sure that we have meticulous notes on anything that occurs outside of our control. We want to be able to track that. We want to be able to notify the IBWC, FEMA for any potential inconsistencies within the structure. We want to maintain an open communication channel for technical coordination. We want to protect our public safety and our river stewardship commitments. And we want to make sure that it doesn't come across as we're challenging federal authority, but we want to make sure that they've taken into account all of the legal conditions that they have to meet. And they have the ability to waive a lot of different federal rules and guidelines, but they don't have the ability to waive them all. And I think that's one of the strategies that everybody should understand. My summary and the final slide that I have here is that Laredo supports strong national security and federal enforcement priorities. We appreciate all the help to get the illegal activity out of here. I think, Mayor, when we saw the fentanyl deaths and saying we have to do more, we have to do better, I think that is something that we want to try to help to prevent continuously within that. The city prioritizes smart, integrated solutions that protect residents and assets. The framework guarantees coordination, transparency, and consistent oversight. It safeguards the city's interests even if federal construction accelerates. And we want to be at the table. Laredo remains committed to maintaining a safe, secure, flood-resistant, resilient riverfront. This approach ensures that the community is protected under any federal decision. Laredo continues its commitment and cooperation and responsible riverfront stewardship. Mayor, and I think all the council, you do have my draft document that we did put together that outlines this, and the reason I did that was so that if the public has an interest in this, it will be available, and we will make sure that everybody has a copy of that. Outside of that, Mayor, City Council, I can answer any questions here, but I know that we'll have a little bit of a conversation in the back room. But
okay, what I'd like to do is make a motion to create a community advisory committee so that the public can assist us with ideas. Now, we have to make the public understand that this is an eminent domain situation from the federal government. What that means is that they can do whatever they want. Wait, let me finish. But if we don't say anything, they'll do whatever they want. And if we say no, they'll do whatever they want. So what's the next option is for us to dialogue with them, put the suggestions that we want, work with them, and use the opinion of the public as a lever. So all these things give us the ability to make headway in regards to whether we have it like they want it or have it like they want it. So we're able to do something, and that's what we're doing, I don't want the public to think that we're giving away our property, giving away, saying yes to everything they say. It's not that. We're trying to dialogue with them so we can get the best advantage that we can get. And if we say totally no, they're gonna say, okay, we'll do what we did in Eagle Pass. Put the ball on the wall, and whether we jump up and down, they're gonna do it. So that's the thing the public needs to know. So public needs to understand that we're doing everything to protect our public. It's not that we're bending a knee.
Mayor, your motion was what?
Motion is to create a community advisory committee, and this will assist the city and us to understand. Motion is second.
May I address that, Mayor, very briefly?
Mayor.
Yeah, we have a motion. Let's go ahead and vote on it.
Well, Mayor, I do have some comments about the motion.
All right, go ahead.
About the motion, and I don't mind allowing Mr. Land to speak. He's a lawyer who was an affected property owner the last time. He may have some insights to share with us as far as that private ownership, public ownership of the Riverfront Vega goes.
Right,
So I
but
don't-
we'll have to vote on the motion of the committee first.
Okay, so then, excuse me.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Thank you.
So when, Mayor, I appreciate very much this idea that we want community input. We want to hear what people expect this governing body to do, because we are stewards of your land. And I appreciate your comments, Mayor, about how we understand that charge, and that should guide our decision-making and how we take action. I maybe would push back. I don't think we should foreclose any opportunity. I know we had someone say that eminent domain cases, generally the side loses 95% of the time, but there is that 5%. And I think when we consider all of our options, we don't foreclose any possibilities, not to be adversarial in any way to the federal government, but to insist that our community's interests are served first, that those are always at the forefront. And we walk carefully when we do that, of course, but we should approach it from a position of strength. And having experts and lawyers on our side, and having community input so we know where our roots are, that makes it a stronger negotiating position. So I agree with this committee. I just would like to say that I think when we talk, Mr. Nebb discussed the difference between private ownership and public ownership of Riverfront Vega, that we look to include private landowners who are sharing of city goals, because we need to be strong in how we present ourselves to the federal government. We are not looking for a diversity of views necessarily. We are looking for strength in our positioning of being in favor of border security, against the border barrier, as we moved the last time we had a meeting. So we look for private landowners who are willing to join us. We know we've identified some rather large landowners of River Vega that could join forces with us. So when we're looking for community input in this committee, I would suggest that we look to those people to help us in this negotiation to strengthen our position. And then that we also include our environmental folks, because at core, and so many people mention this, the impact to our river and our only source of drinking water, that drives so much of this conversation. We can't ignore that, because it impacts the ability of this community to be sustainable in the future. So I would suggest also that those people are part of this community group and this discussion, and I assume it's an advisory group, but that we receive input from them, because we cannot separate the two. It's not just the land and the impacts to the land, it is the impacts to our only source of drinking water and the health of our river, and we owe that to future generations.
Mr. Aranda, come up and say something you wanted to say, please. Mr. Mayor, I don't believe that people are saying shut the government off. Just sit back and let them sue you. What we're saying is don't let them bully you. You know, the city manager showed you some renderings, and he said they want to move fast. That doesn't mean you have to move fast. Don't let them bully you. If they sue you for eminent domain, the first thing the judge is going to say, can't you guys work it out? Sit down and try to work something out. That's the first thing the judge is going to say. They're not going to sue us so long as we're willing to deal with them. Management has already figured out the city's preferred plan. Management said something very important here. Management told you that they're not fixated on a 30-foot bollard wall, that they're willing to look at alternatives, yet they've already come up with the alternatives. Do you guys know those alternatives and you're not telling us? I don't think you know those alternatives, but they already have. We think the public should participate in coming up with the city's preferred alternatives. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion on the floor. Any second?
Yes, Mayor, second.
Sorry, second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Mayor, may I speak?
You had made a motion for executive session.
Oh, yes, motion for executive session.
Mayor, I just wanted to clarify a term that was used in the presentation. That it's just a definition of a term. Thank you.
Go ahead for that.
So, you know, we've had some discussions here, and several of you came up and discussed a smart wall. And I believe what the intention was to differentiate the smart wall that we maybe understand here as technology-based personnel, not border barrier. But let me explain to you what the United States Customs and Border Protection Agency define a smart wall as, just so we can clean up language. This is from their website. The smart wall is a border security system that combines steel barriers, waterborne barriers, which would be the buoys, patrol roads, lights, cameras, and advanced detection technology to give Border Patrol agents the best tools in the world, and that's how they phrase it on their website, to stop illegal traffic. So we need to be careful when we're using these terms. I think, and I haven't seen any virtual wall pulling in that physical barrier, right? But the virtual wall is what we understand to be technology-driven, no border barriers. And I will remind you that last council meeting, we did approve a motion that says we are for border security, but we are against border barriers. So that's all I wanted to do, Mayor, is clarify smart wall is not what necessarily was presented by some of you, and we should be careful in our language. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, do we have a second for executive session?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mayor, may I ask for the terms? We need to discuss what, right, identify the items that are going,
We can look into, we already have a
For
section.
executive session?
For executive
Well, we
session.
only have one item, so we're looking at discussion with attorney 71 as well as real estate 72. I'm sorry.
All right, okay. Motion passes. All in favor? Motion passes. Back to regular session, back from exec committee, no agreements were done.
Mayor, may I? Mayor, may I? Oh, I
I'm gonna put a
apologize.
request. I'm gonna request a discussion with possible action on update information from the Department of Homeland Security concerning proposed construction of a border wall with our city limits, what they're proposing, reaffirming community interest, and setting a timeline for community poll results, and a decisive city council action and any matters related thereto. That's my motion. Second?
Point of order, I'm sorry, Mary, I didn't, it sounded like you were setting up a discussion. I don't understand the motion, if you don't mind repeating it.
Yes. Discussion with possible action on update information from the Department of Homeland Security concerning the proposed construction of border wall, what they're telling us to do, within the city limits, reaffirming community interest and setting a timeline for community poll results and decisive city council action, what we're gonna do, any matters related thereto. So we want Homeland Security to give us a report, and we're gonna put our interest into this report and setting a timeline when we can do the poll results.
So the action that will be taken, Mr. Neb, is it clear what the action is that will be taken from this motion?
I believe I can work with it, and based upon our conversation and based upon the mayor's motion. But I guess one of the things within that whole discussion for that, of course, we'll prepare for the poll. If you would, make sure that the framework that was discussed is the framework that we would follow within our conversations, within all that structure. And then we're going to bring back pieces of that to the council as it goes. That's my understanding. Is that right? Would that mean what your expectations are? And we have to identify the individuals that we have to deal with the DHS and all of that as well too.
All right, as amended. Second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, may I?
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to move in that same spirit to have an adoption of the border security and river stewardship framework that was presented by our city management team.
I'll second that.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And Mayor, may I?
Pardon?
May I? I have
Yes,
additional.
go ahead.
Okay. And then, sort of in that same spirit, we had a motion at the November 3rd meeting where the council agreed that we were all for border security, but it was not in our best interest to be for a border barrier. We were against the border barrier. And I would like to convert that into a resolution because that will give some backstory for our residents who are looking at these actions that city council takes. With the resolution, you have a lot of justification for the motion that we take. And I do believe that was the original intent of your motion. It was mentioned in your motion that it would be a resolution. Somehow that language did not get put into that motion. So I would like to have a resolution that essentially restates what we moved on November 3rd.
Motion second. I do have a question on that. If we state that resolution to our negotiations, will that impact them?
If I may, I believe that we're just memorializing in writing in the resolution what has already been motioned, so we'll make sure it's faithful to that.
Yeah, Mayor, I don't believe that'll have any impact on it because within the resolution, it's just going to state what we just talked about in the public meeting today as well too, as well as what we talked about at the last meeting. So we will be bringing it back forward to you though to adopt as a true resolution rather than a motion that was done before. We're just going to clean it up. That's it.
Yes.
That's what I was gonna say, you'll bring that to the December.
It'll come to the next meeting, yeah.
Okay, December first, thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, one more item, a
Go
point
ahead.
of information.
Go ahead.
Are we supposed to, move to get the citizens committee, that we talked about? Where we got, okay. All right.
Yeah, that was already adopted, and so what we will do is we'll bring back the framework as to what that citizen committee will look like.
Yes. Motion to adjourn second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.